Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands. And every now and again, not very often, but every now and again, a horror movie comes along that in a really good way reminds you that you can still be wowed in cinema. And even though I've seen thousands of horror movies, something does occasionally come along which makes me think I've never seen anything like that before. And for this movie that I'm going to talk about, that is one of those films. The film in question is The Substance, which came out last year in 2024. I'm a little bit late to the party on this one. I've had a lot of people recommend it to me, and I'm so glad that I watched it. It's one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time, and I wanted to give it a bit of coverage on this channel. Now, if you're planning on watching the movie, I do recommend watching it before you watch this video. I'm not going to go too spoiler heavy, but this is one that you just want to watch unfold and see what happens. It's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I'll talk a bit about the movie and I'll get into why I think this one is so good. So The Substance stars Demi Moore as this aging actress and seemingly exercise star who is unceremoniously fired by her TV executive boss, played by a super sleazy Dennis Quaid. He's fantastic in this, but you will love to hate the guy. So she's feeling pretty rock bottom. She feels awful, and she's very self-conscious about kind of her aging looks and the fact that she's getting old. And she's introduced to this mysterious substance where if you inject it, it will change your life. What it actually does is it morphs you into a younger, beautiful looking person. The only catch with this is you have to remember that you and this person are the same, and you have to switch back to your old self in 7 days for 7 days. Pretty simple, and Demi Moore starts injecting this stuff into her and undergoes this kind of metamorphosis, transformation, pretty gruesome and horrific. But from her body emerges this, I gotta say, smoking hot young woman. And as this young woman, her TV career begins to thrive again. She's loved by absolutely everyone, and she has the most amazing life ever. And this is where The Substance gets really interesting and gets quite thought-provoking, because you start to think the allure of this younger, more attractive life really takes its toll, and whenever Demi Moore has to go back to her old body, it's with a great deal of reluctance. And when she's in this body, her original body, her self-conscious thoughts and what she thinks are her imperfections are exasperated even more, to the point where she really starts to lose her mind over this, and the allure of the new, younger body becomes too much, and she starts to dysregulate from the pattern, which I won't go very much into, but has horrifying results, and it is just an unbelievably, horrifyingly good movie. So Demi Moore in this is absolutely sensational. I really do think she should have got at least an Oscar nomination for this one. Her portrayal of this aging woman is really deep, and she really brings that the mixed emotions of kind of getting older, and the sadness and the downright desperation of trying to keep this once glamorous career that she has, and also just the nitty-gritty of the performance that she gives. This is a pretty hard-hitting, quite explicit performance, and she's just absolutely fantastic throughout the whole movie. And The Substance for me just works so well as a horror movie, because you get the body horror aspects, and at first it's quite sort of subtle and suggestive in terms of changing bodies and personas and how that would kind of work. And then we kind of go into more real kind of physical and physiological changes, which all go horribly wrong. A bit later in the movie, it was really kind of reminiscent of The Fly, in terms of kind of your body failing you and bits falling off and getting all a bit gooey and things like that, which was great. And then at the end of the movie, I can only describe it, it turns into almost like a full-on monster movie, and was very reminiscent of The Thing, practical effects and all, which is certainly not a bad thing in horror. But it just played out in such a crazy, unpredictable way. It was just fantastic. It's a very, very stylish movie. Parts of it actually are quite sort of sexualized, but it never feels fully sexy, because you just have the feeling that something horrifying is going to happen amongst all this glamorous, fun existence that the younger Demi Moore character has, and indeed it does start to go pretty horrible pretty fast. But just the way, for me, that it balances literal body horror in the gooey, gory, gruesome sense, and the almost philosophical sensibilities in this one. As I say, the thought-provoking aspects of having the body that you're in, being able to switch to a much beautiful, successful, much loved body, and how that would take its toll on you mentally, really actually caught me off guard. And I'm still thinking about those elements today, and it's been a few days since I watched the movie, and I just love all the kind of the things that it evoked from me, that like the horror. I was aghast at the transformation that Demi Moore was going through, but also the sympathy that I felt for her being in this situation, and as things become more and more desperate towards the end. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a mess. It's a real mess. I've heard a lot of people say that this is absolutely insane, and I can see why people say that. I actually think it's a really clever film and just works on so many levels, particularly in this day and age where there is a lot of focus on looks and youthful looks and things like that. It was just absolutely fantastic. I loved every minute of the movie. I was transfixed on it. I was really kind of concerned for what was going on. You can tell that you can just tell it's going to slide and it's all going to go really bad, and it does in the most gruesome way possible. Just absolutely fantastic. I loved it so much, and it was great to come across a horror film that really made me sit up and take notice and think, wow, this is new to me, because that doesn't happen very often. So for me, this is just an excellent movie. It looks fantastic. The performances from everyone are perfect. The body horror aspects are suitably horrible. The practical effects and the gore is incredible. Yeah, it's just an amazing horror movie, and one that I absolutely recommend people checking out. It's one that I think, yeah, I could discuss it in even more detail, but I think people should just go and experience this and see what happens, and just see how you feel about all this one at the end of it. But let me know what you think about this one. I'd be really interested to know. I hope people did enjoy this one and enjoyed it as much as I did. So hopefully you guys did. But let me know what you think of The Substance. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.